what's clear to us as we go into 2022 is that working in a hybrid world will continue, even as FAs are allowed to come back into offices. We think that there's a large number of FAs that will never go back to their office. In fact, they'll love to work from home. There's a thing about golfing, like say, well, do you play golf? It's like, do you use Zoom? And you say, yeah, I use Zoom. And say, I play golf, but I'm a 18 handicap. And in business, I don't really want to be an 18 handicap. I want to be a scratch golfer. And so in working in a hybrid world are you a 18 handicap, a very high handicap, or is your handicap low?
I'd like to really say how proud I am of the work that our whole team did last year, and particularly Tom and Jessica, and the laying the foundation for that mentorship and program to work for us, and really proud of what Tom was able to accomplish with some longstanding relationships. And it did take a lot. It did take a village, because those big cases and things, they don't just fall in your lap, and they don't just get approved by carriers because you submit the paperwork. I know one of the things that Tom and Jessica did last year was a monthly call with groups of brokers, and they would bring in a carrier or some other third-party resource to help on those calls. And those are really showing results. And again, that may take 3 to 6 months before you see results because of the lead time and all that. I noticed, I always like to tell the story, and this goes back quite a ways. It was Smith Barney, I think. And I met a guy, and he told me, that he had a nice case, and it was a big case at the time. It was a couple $100,000 of premium whole life. And he said, it's been 5 years I've known that I need to write this insurance on these people, but I never had anybody that I met or could trust to put them in front of my client. So I think, we know the business is out there, and getting that trust factor and developing those relationships is what I think it's been about for us. I actually, wanted to tie in the other part of the equation, for instance, where Jessica has been done such a great job with Tom, is she doesn't have those 20-year relationships, but she's able to help get the arms around the things that we want to try to embrace. And that is, going deeper with those relationships, doing the monthly calls, setting them up, getting the outside resources involved. So she did just a tremendous job that way, and identifying and keeping a few, enough balls in the air so that we were going to have some success, more success, I think.
So number one is it's reinventing yourself. It's taking a look back. And what I always say to my group and everyone around is to include my own work unit, people that I have relationships with, is, hey, take stock. What happened in 21 compared to 20 and 19? What went right, what went wrong? It's like any business should, and even in the military, it's called an after action report, which, hey, how did the year go? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I do more efficiently? Where did I waste in our world? Where did I waste a lot of time? We know we're going into a 22 again with no or very little branch visits. So our world is, changed there. But what I would say, there's 3 things that I'm going off of. And number one is, can you condense your year? You look at the last quarter of every year. It seems like we as a sales organization, to include even, you could say our competitors, carriers included, and even the firms, they're more focused, more organized. There's a sense of urgency to get things done versus a January, a February, a March, and before you know it, half the year's gone. And so going to that point is, could you, and Brian Moran talks about this, could you break your year down into a 12-week year? And I'm a big believer in that. And that is, hey, over the next 4 months, which means January is now October, kind of thing. If you look at 12-week segments. So if your January was October, how would you change the way you approach your business? A lot of you is upgrading your business. Spend a lot of time at Capitas, bringing on new partners, bringing on new specialists. We have a lot of people with a lot of knowledge there that work in circles that maybe you don't, or you don't have comfort because of your knowledge base. Nothing wrong with that. That's what's called a team. That's why advisors form teams. So certain people can deal with their certain mature advisors, where others might be dealing with the things they're letting fall through the cracks. So when I say upgrade your business, if you're not engaged with people like Chuck Wald, advanced consultants in Capitas that have that knowledge, that are familiar with premium finance, Capitas Global, it's those circles, Executive Benefit Solutions, EBS. Those individuals have expertise that you do not. When I said, take a look at 19, 20, and 21 business, are you marketing to those individuals? How often are you touching those individuals? And what I mean by that is we don't always have to reach out to our advisors with an insurance-based situation. Marketing at Capitas does a great job. It could be, hey, what's the latest in Washington? Could be what's going on the latest in impacts advisors, or some articles. Many have their own articles and they market on a regular basis. At the Capitas National Meeting, you should seek out and find those people. And how do they market? But those that are successful, and I see it, are constantly dripping on their advisors, staying relevant, whether it's an article that has something to do with their world, could be going on in the state or local community, and then it could be insurance. But at the end of the day, advisors don't care about Section 7702. That's your workshop. That's not their workshop. Things that are relevant are what's going on in Washington with taxes, capital gains, businesses, valuation, SALT, things like that. So marketing, think about your marketing. Is it strategic? Is it relevant? Before I send this out, it doesn't have to always be insurance. Advisors should think, hey, I like when Rick sends something out, hey, it's something that's relevant.
My 3 keys for 2022 real quickly are going to be the concepts, that we focus on, that resonate with the brokers, that we're talking to, those that we are, most interested in working with and are worth our time. I'll come back to that point. The second one is identifying your top 10%, whether that's 10 advisors, 15, 20 advisors, whatever the number is, during first quarter, especially the first couple of weeks of January, and having just a 15-minute conversation with them about the coming year, specifically first quarter. How can I help you? What can I do to help you be more effective, to be more focused, however you wish to phrase that? Again, I'll come back with a couple ideas there. And the third one is referrals. Are we asking referrals? How are we asking? When do you ask for referrals? At least in the major metropolitan areas, a lot of the branches are not open. So they're going to have team meetings. And let's be on that call. Let's bring an idea or two. I'm only saying, give me 10, 15 minutes. I'll bring an idea. What we typically do, we've been doing this throughout 2021 very effectively, is we'll put 1 or 2 ideas on one piece of paper. It's typically our memo with our contact information on it. And I email that to them in advance so they can see what we're going to talk about. And then I don't tell them everything, of course, but I put it in bullet point in bullet point format. And then we get into the profile, and then we get into, how it works, why it works the way that it works. I don't call up somebody and ask for referrals. It's always tacked on to the end of a conversation. And it's typically when they're calling me. They're calling me to help about something. It could have been a sale that we made last year. Could be a question. It could be a pending case that we have. And it's just I'm not spending a lot of time on it. I want to touch it. I want to plant the seed. And there are times, again, they say, yeah, as a matter of fact, you should give so-and-so a call. Oftentimes we already know who they are, because we've been in the branches. Again, this is national accounts talk I'm referring to here. We know who they are, and either they aren't doing insurance or haven't been involved with life insurance. So we want to ask the advisor that we work closely with to say something to the advisor prior to calling it, me calling that person and saying, hey, I'm following up. I was talking to Zach. He mentioned that I should be helping you with life insurance planning as well. So is this something we can talk about?
I think you really 2022, much of it is going to be just back to basics, the fundamentals that, have driven our success over the years. I look at three key factors and things that we have to just continually, proactively, and aggressively remind ourselves to do every day. Is one, continue to focus on our best opportunities and our best relationships. We get distracted sometimes, but if we continually go back and look at what are our best opportunities to drive and grow our business and who are our best relationships to grow and drive our business, just focusing on those people and those organizations, and not wasting time on people that are not great opportunities and are not good relationships. So that's first and foremost. And I think, we always talk about referrals, and some of us are good at it, some of us are not, but continually trying to grow the number of good relationships that we have is critical, and asking for referrals from those great relationships and great accounts that we work with is critical. I've built my practice over the years almost entirely off of referrals. So key element to, again, growth and moving forward, trying to expand our reach with advisors and agents and firms we're working with. And I think, the last thing when I think of the three things that we really have to continue to focus on and be very proactive is our continued growth and learning. When I talk about learning, I'm thinking about, I call the 3 Ps, which are process, planning, and product. So process, our internal process, the process of our accounts, the process that we work with our independents, the way we're getting stuff done from A to Z. Mastering and continually learning the process is so critical, especially since it's been changing dramatically over the past couple of years. Whether it's accounts, whether it's DocuSign, whether it's rules of engagement, we have to continually be on top of, make sure we're mastering and learning the process. And then planning, the basic fundamental planning techniques and strategies we've always utilized, but making sure we're staying on top of the evolving planning opportunities with the pending legislation, the legislation that's in place that's going to change the way we look at some estate and business planning situations. We have to continue to make sure we're staying sharp and we're learning and honing our craft when it comes to the planning aspect of our business. And then the last P, mastering our products. We've seen a lot of interesting product evolution the last couple of years, the move towards variable life products. There's a lot of confusion with the indexed options and the moving parts and the limitations. We have to master these vehicles that we're utilizing. Well, I think we just have to, assume that we're going to be working in a similar environment that we did through 21, and that, those that want to get out and see a bunch of people face to face, they need to kind of come to grips with the fact that that may not happen anytime in the near future. And we just have to pick up the phone, open up some emails, send some emails, get creative, send a hard copy, card in the mail to their home address if they're working from home, and just get a little creative, but making sure we're staying in contact with our most valued relationships. So we just have to anticipate having to work in a similar environment through this coming year and not assume things are ever going to revert back to the way they were.
So one of the things I'm trying to get my salespeople to focus on is they have to be in front of advisors. And that could entail being in a face-to-face or using technology. And technology, as we know, is not just Zoom and WebEx. It's emails, phone calls, whatever works for you. It's going to be some combination. Unfortunately, we're not going back to the old world where you can go into a branch, sit down, and wait for somebody to come talk to you. That isn't going to happen anymore. That is gone. Likewise, going into a branch and being allowed to walk around a branch, it is certainly gone now. So we have to be at the forefront. In my group, that's my focus with my group, is trying to help them be more successful using the technology along with a face-to-face as we try to improve our sales. The other thing what I always forget, and I think some of us do, what makes a really successful sales team are our case designers. And whether we know it or not, our case designers, and I got to focus more on that this year with them as a value prop to have them grow with the rest of the team. They're the ones that are really interacting. I don't know with each partner, but I know with my partner, my group, they're really on the phone with the financial advisors and interacting with them. They're helping with applications. They're talking to the clients to collect information. They're an integral part of that sales team. And I think all of us really need to bring that into focus and consider what we're doing as we go into 2022 here. To me, that's a differentiator that we bring to the table that no other organization brings that we compete with. The other thing that part of the prop, my sales prop, or helping my team grow, is I do have an advanced marketing unit, private wealth, and Capitas has a large private wealth group. But my team with Paul, Damian, and Gary Lee, we have the ability to bring them in. They can client face, they can work with the client's advisors, whether it's an attorney or a CPA. The knowledge they bring to the sales process and helping a salesperson close a deal and show value, more important, show value from a consultative point, is key. And we see that success all the time. We have to grow it. Lastly, the thing is how do you, recruiting, and how do you bring people into the market? And I've been fortunate. I've brought in 5 new individuals over the past 6 months or so. I'm interviewing another person. I am always looking to try to expand my territory. What I am finding out there, our competitors, some of them are, they may be changing their model or going in a different direction. There's some good people to find out there now. And I want to continue to add, whether it's an internal, a case manager, or more importantly, a point of sale person out in the marketplace in some of my territory. That is a key thing. I do need to expand in certain areas where I don't have as much coverage, and I need to grow that. So when you really look back at it, 1, help build teams, help my people be better marketers. Those teams are not just the SVP, the internal case designer, or internal marketer. It's also the case manager along with the advanced marketing group. And that is ultimately my goal, is working more closely with that and really perfecting that. And perfecting, well, that's going to be a process over years, but I think we'll get there. The last thing I want to mention here, and I think it's a real big value prop for all of us, and we have to take advantage of this. I know Rick on the West Coast, and I think Brian Latinovich has used EBS. I am starting to engage with EBS in certain areas, trying to see how I can bring that knowledge to the sales process. And here again, it's like a Paul, Damian, or Gary Lee in my group. You bring them in, they're the subject matter experts, like Blake says, and we have to do that. And to me, where I've really engaged, and I think everybody should take the time to meet Chris Dunham and Fernando Powell and their team. They are very professional, and they do a great job on the global market. And also, you got to remember, yes, premium financing could be part of that, et cetera, but their knowledge on that area in the financing side is better than anything I've seen out there. So they are exceptionally good at what they bring to the table, and we are really engaging on that end. And I think all of us are. So going into 2022, just in a quick snapshot, you already heard how I want to focus on my teams, but adding those other 2 key elements to that process, I think will help me grow sales. I'm really excited about 2022. 2021 was a different year, as Blake said, but I think a lot of us have a ton in inventory, and I think that's going to be help us have a great start to the year where we can really expand and grow.